Naked Shamanism. Welcome to With Insights Radio. I'm your host, Iggy Garcia. I will take you on a journey across the universe through shamanism, metaphysical, and holistic. So sit back and relax and enjoy the show. Good evening, everybody. It's good to be here. Iggy Garcia Live, episode 152. Follow the smoke. And I think I spelled smoke wrong. That's okay. We can change that. Power of the internet, right? Smoke. There we go. All right. So, here we go. All right, that's my my dyslexia, kicking in. Anyhow, just wanted to share today with you guys a little bit. So we're going to light a little candle here, get ourselves started. Just light it old-fashioned style with a match. All right. All right, so we want to give thanks to all the people who have been in our lives who've positively or negatively influenced us in some way or another, who shaped us and changed us, because it's kind of interesting. Sometimes you need a little bit of the both to kind of mold you and shape you. So I want to give thanks to those people, present or deceased. Thank you for being in my life, or present. But I also want to remember my Uncle Manuel Perez, who passed away, and just part of the old guard, just starting to transition. I guess he gets to hang out with my dad now a little bit, up in heaven or wherever they're at, wherever they decide to be. But just want to remember my Uncle Manuel who transitioned and left this plane. My mom, my dad, because I'm thinking about my parents today a lot. They're on my mind. They just, they pop in from time to time. They visit me with, the visit from the cardinal or the blue jay or different animals that present themselves. Is it them? Is it not them? Does it really matter? It's what I believe, what I associate it with. That's kind of how this magic works. You can believe it or not believe it. You can associate it and make it part of your belief system. It's like anything in this world or anything in any belief system. You have to have faith. You have to put trust that what you're believing in and what you're ingesting and manifesting and putting into your system is right for you. So, thank you, ancestors, for your help and guidance. I'm going to burn a little sage here. It burns throughout the show. There we go. Oops. I'm falling apart over here. Wouldn't be the first time. Giving love. All right, it's good to be here. Feels good. Okay, I'm going to move this candle over here while we're doing our show. It'll do its thing. And I'll move this over here as we do our thing. All right, everybody. I hope everybody's doing well. I hope everybody's fine. Connie, I see you're on. It's good to see you. I hope you enjoy your drum. It looks beautiful. It looks amazing. It sounded amazing when I heard you play it. I couldn't find the video at first. Finally, I took a couple looks for her. I found it. And, it looks amazing. So, if you want to share with us on there, just typing in a few comments. For those of you who are online, you want to leave some comments, ask some questions. Today we're going to be doing that. We're going to be asking questions. If you have any questions of me about following the smoke, what does it mean to follow the smoke? It's not necessarily cigarettes or pipes or anything like that. The smoke, it's a terminology used in shamanism and some other indigenous beliefs, meaning that you're following the call to spirit, the call to the energy, call to your path, the path walker, the person who is walking the path, following the smoke of indigenous traditions and indigenous ways. Okay, so there are thousands of indigenous ways. There's a lot of them. There's just not one. Some of them are shamanism, some of them are curandero, some are voodoo, some are Wiccan. It's indigenous to the region. You have different types of cultures and different types of the world. You have people from Ireland, you have people from England, from India, from Peru. You name it. Every culture, every society has its healers. And the healers, sometimes are asleep and don't know that they're being called. Except there's this gnawing in your bone, there's this gnawing in your body. There's this thing that you can't quite put your finger on, why you feel a certain way about certain things, and why you think or you feel that you are able to connect or hear certain things or resonate with certain things. And sometimes you're just plain gone crazy because you don't know what's happening in your mind. You don't know what's going on in there because there's all kinds of crazy stuff happening. Your feelings, your emotions, people are walking away from you, people are leaving, people don't want to be around you. I mean, this is all this stuff. Following the smoke means to follow your path. Now, there are many people who have been called to their path and just not aware of the signs. The signs sometimes are very subtle, sometimes the signs are very difficult, sometimes the signs are just right in front of us, sometimes they're not. But here's the cool thing about it. Every human being, one time or another, will be called to a path, to a sacred path of one sort of another. Now, even though you're called to your path, doesn't mean you're going to walk your path in this lifetime. It doesn't mean that you're going to just jump on and go, hey, okay, today I'm going to be this kind of healer, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't really necessarily work like that. How it works is, it's very subtle. It's a very subtle influx, a very subtle flow to what you're getting. It's a whole group of serendipitous moments that just compound on top of each other and defragmentize too. They just defrag and reset. It's like turning on the virus scanner, on your computer. When you remember the defrag on your old computers, you hit the defrag and you're trying to, rearrange the information that's just got discombobulated and just kind of mixed up. For those of you who remember the defrag button on your computer, and so hopefully that put things back in order. But even though when you defrag things, there are some things in the defrag system that are locked, they are blocked, and you can't change them. They're just set in stone. They're just boom, knocked in. And so the defrag system would have to build around it and just kind of build a wall and just keep moving and try to sort the files. Well, your life's like that. Your life's like a defragging system. Okay? All the things that you used to believe, either you believe them, you don't, or you still hold on to them, or pieces and parts of it, or you move away from them, or they totally just change. Now, what happens to people who hang on to old belief systems and don't want to let go of those belief systems? Well, they tend to stay in the same place. They send the same energy. They tend to stay in the same vibration. They tend to stay in these frequencies. Now, human beings are chemical. Human beings are metal. Human beings are water. Human beings are energy. Human beings are electricity. So there's no reason why you're not connected or why you can't communicate to things that are out in nature, and why you can't be part of something or see something and experience some things, or be able to see things that other people can't see. Because you're made of the components of the whole entire universe. And it's hard for people to wrap their mind around that, because people think that they have to be weak or small, or they're not worthy to be part of creation, or even better than creation. You were born to be, like the universe, because you are the universe. You were born to be engulfed in it, and moved in it, wrapped in it, enveloped in it. And if you don't believe that, I can't really help you when you can't if you don't believe that. But I believe that. I believe that I am part of the bigger scheme, a bigger plan, even a small piece of it, even if I'm a small piece of it, that I'm part of this amazing journey we call life. That there's something, my part is to do something while I'm here. Now, some people will do things while they're here. Some people will do things later when they come back. If you don't believe in reincarnation, that's okay. We're not here to judge belief systems or to criticize or to do harm to anybody else's belief systems. We're only here to share ideas. We're only here to share things that other people think differently. That other people have different state of minds and different perceptions on how they see the world. Some people see UFOs. Some people talk to animals. Some people don't see anything. Remember when my ancestors were on the shores of the banks of, the beaches of Peru, when they looked out into the ocean, they didn't see ships. They had no clue what a ship looked like. They had no idea what a boat or a ship looked like on that massive scale. Now, I'm looking at you, and you're looking at me, and we're going, how do I not know, Iggy? How did I not see it? When you don't have a cognitive visual or understanding of something that you've never seen before, then how do you know what you're looking at? Now, when you do see it and you don't have an explanation for it, well, then it becomes something very mystique, very mysterious, very different. Now, when the first natives of Peru saw these ships, before it was called Peru, they saw these ships, the Inca Empire, the people from the Inca Empire. They saw these ships, they saw these men, they saw these bearded men, kind of like me, because I have some Spanish in me. I have a lot of people in me. I have a lot of ancestral energy is in me. So you have all this energy, you have all this mysticism, you have all this what do you call it, prophecy of people who were going to come across the ocean, who were going to share knowledge with you. And I don't know if the prophecies ever talked about them being destroyed or being annihilated and evaporated, but regardless, they knew that they were coming someday. They knew because there was people who come before, and then we call them scouts. The scouts came before. The scouts came, on these little boats and these little skirts, and they got there and they looked, and there they are. And then here we are. Bring us to modern times. There are things we don't see in our realms because we're not indoctrinated to see it. We haven't been taught to see it. Our bodies don't resonate to the frequency of seeing it. There's colors that are not seen because we don't see them because our eye doesn't see them. Kind of like animals. Some animals see black and white, and that's it. Humans see color so they can distinguish the predators out of the foliage so they won't get eaten. That's our gift from the universe, to see color and to see contrast, to see the shadows and the different things. And that's kind of these are things about us. Now, are we by chance, or are we just something that just came out of nowhere? Are we just these little apes that jumped out of a tree? Or were we dropped off by an intelligent being? Were we dropped off by people, our ancestors who are in the future, brought us back to the past so we can create the new future? There's a lot of questions you can be asking about this path, because this path intertwines and intertwines with a whole lots of different belief systems. Then you have to understand, why do people ask these questions? Why do people ask these questions about life? Why are they curious about the stars? Why are they curious about who lives underground? Why are they curious about what's deep down in the sea? Because part of us came from all these different places. Now, when you just look at humanity alone, just the different looks, the different cultures, the different beliefs, the different people from all over, from Asia, from Mongolia, from Russia, Peru, Mexico, United States, Europe, we all have a different distinct look, even though we all come from a common ancestor according to historians, according to archaeologists. But there's a different bone structure. There's a different look in all of us. Like we all came from different parts and different places. Now, in the shamanic realms that I work in, we believe that there are things, we come from the space and the stars, but we also believe that there's interdimensional dimensions within our living world. The upper, the middle, the lower world, and then these interdimensional places where we can travel to. There's stories of shamans that could go up trees and end up on the other side of the world. Now, most people go scratch their head and go, well, how's that possible? Well, it's not possible for you because you don't have the capacity to believe that it works, because you have totally forgotten how to do it. Just because you don't know how to do and you can't do it doesn't mean it never happened. Well, but Iggy, that's just not physically possible. It's because we're living in the construct of the 3D mind. You have to step outside the 3D mind. You have to step into the 5D, into the multiple layers of dimension, the multiple layers of probabilities. When you go on an ayahuasca journey, when you go on a peyote ceremony, when you go on a San Pedro ceremony, you're indoctrinating and releasing chemicals in your brain so you can see the dimensional world that you don't get to see every day. It's there. It's right in front of us, but we don't see it because our eyes are blind, or we have blinders on. Can't see. But as soon as you take, the nectar of Mother Earth that puts you in a deprogramming state of mind, it opens up your mind. It opens up your mind so you can see the physical, the emotional, the energies that you just are not in tune with. Because number one, you probably couldn't function if you saw it every single day like that. But there are people who can walk into these dimensions, who know how to move the energy inside their body, their chemistry. And there's deep programmed shamans who have learned these techniques. I am one of those people. I know because I've done it and I can do it. Can I teach you to do it? It depends. You really have to let go of your ego. You really have to drop the veil. You really have to stop believing in the things that are not possible, because the most powerful thing that you will ever have to help you move through your path and to open up your mind is your imagination. Your imagination is the most powerful thing. Even Albert Einstein said that. And Albert Einstein got that from the indigenous people. He learned that from the indigenous people. He's not the one who came up with that. They just put it into words. Indigenous people have been using their imagination since the beginning of time. You have to have imagination in order to create the things that we have. This was created from imagination. This was created from imagination. This was created from imagination. This is someone's thought, someone's idea, someone's memory, someone's mind. These were created from someone's imagination. Somebody's imagination. But we discount imagination. But when you're following the smoke, you have to open your imagination to the possibilities. When you see a cloud in the sky and you see a figure in the cloud, is there a figure in the cloud? Are you going to be so logically minded and go, well, it's just a cloud. It just happens to be forming that way because the way the wind blows up my ass, whatever, No, there's a figure in the sky. There's a shape in the sky. And in that moment, you were supposed to see that shape. You were supposed to acknowledge that mysticism in that moment. And then as easy as it's created, it evaporates and changes to something else and it's gone. Following the smoke means you end up places where you don't even know how you got there. Some of you here have gone to places and met people and ended up in situations where you're like, wow, I've been waiting to meet. Have you ever been in a situation where I hear people all the time, oh, I've been waiting for this forever. I'm glad that I ran into you guys. And it's true. That's a very powerful statement. Because you followed the smoke. It means you were listening to the signs. You were paying attention to the things that you usually may not have paid attention to. Now here's the thing. when you start to see the smoke, when you start to see the energy, and you start to see and feel the vibrations and these feelings and these things that course through your blood, even your hair stands up, and you start to feel things. It means that the energy is already in there. The programming is in there. It just has to be defragged, reorganized, represented to you, so you open up. Sometimes people say, "Oh, you're a fast learner. Oh, you're a very good student. Oh, It's not that you're necessarily a good student or you're a fast learner. It's that you have the information, and the shaman or the healer or whoever's working with you helps unwind that, helps move the Rubik's Cube of your mind. Moving the pieces, the red, the white, the black. And then eventually, you're able to move it by yourself. You're able to move the energy. You're able to step into frequency. You're able to move into that direction. And yes, it is overwhelming. I agree. It can be overwhelming. It can be. It doesn't have to be. But for our mind that sometimes is not capable of handling that much energy at one time, or that much information at one time, it could be overwhelming. Yes, I agree. But we're more than just physical body. We're more than just physical body. We're a spiritual body. We're an etheric body. We're a transdimensional body. We are. Oh my God! Sometimes the words don't even come to me because they're just so deep. We're a luminous body. Right now, one of the biggest fears we have is this pandemic. But there's been pandemics since day one. We've been dealing with it, but human beings have learned to deal with it. Human beings have learned to move through it. I'm not telling you here, hey, don't do this or do that. I'm just telling you to empower yourself too, as well. Use your luminous body. Use your energetic body. Heal your body. Eat, drink right. Fill your body. Fill your vessel with the good stuff. Nurture it with the things that you need to. Because so many of us right now, we put aside our health, we put aside our mental health, our physical health, because we're so exhausted and tired because of the demands of the 3D world. And then on top of it, the smoke calls you, spirit calls you to come and do the work. Sometimes spirit works in mysterious ways, and spirit goes, well, I need you to do this, I need you to do that, I need you to be on top of this, I need you to get into that. And for some people, that's too much. But you dictate. You can teach people how to treat you. You can teach people how to feel about you. And what happens is when you teach people to treat you a certain way or feel about how they feel about you, the results aren't always positive, my friends. The results aren't always nice cookies and cream. No. Because when we teach people how to see us, the real us, they have a version of you. They have a version of you, of how they used to see you. How they used to, deal with you. Or, react with you. Or engage with you. And as soon as you walk in your path, as soon as you move into that energy, this is what happens. People go, what happened to you? What's wrong with you? You're acting weird, I like the old you. I remember when you used to be like this. Or I remember when you were like that. Now all of a sudden you're in all this woo-woo stuff. You're in this weird stuff. Dude, I don't know you anymore. Those are key signs that you're moving out of relationships, energies that don't resonate with you. Now, there are people who hang on because they really care about you. And they're willing to go the extra mile with you, even through your growth. Because your growth is very powerful. Your growth is very, very crucial. Spirit calls you. My friend Connie, Spirit called her. The drum called to her. I'll use her as an example because she reached out to me and asked me about the lady who was making the drum and selling the drum. I did not know this lady. But she took faith. She took trust. And she believed just enough to use her imagination to go out there and send her money, and in return, the energy exchange, she has this beautiful drum. And now the possibilities are unlimited to what she said, what she can do. She even said, you're going to hear me drum more. You're going to hear me play my drum. I'm paraphrasing here, but that's the smoke. That's the part. It's not that she has to follow a shaman. It's not that she has to follow a teacher or guru or anything. She followed the inner voice inside her spirit, in her heart. She did just the right amount of things in order to get to where she needed to be, and be in the energy she needs to be. Because there's a reason, and there's a reason why she had to get the drum. There's a reason why spirit led her to that particular moment in time. I looked at the drum too, but it didn't call me the same way it called my friend. I'm not saying I wasn't interested and wanted to get it, but you don't just get it because you want it. You get it because there's something special and there's something magical, something that just resonates with you, something that just grabs you, and you just can't fight that urge. That urge is just very powerful. Now, sometimes we like myself, I'm not a very good guitar player by any means, but I got this call to get a guitar, and I got a guitar. It's funny how spirit works. I walk into the store, the music around, and I meet this doctor from Bolivia who's playing guitar, and he's amazing. And he's like, this is the most beautiful guitar. He's playing this guitar, and it's like $600. But it was amazing. Even when I strummed it, was just like, whoa, it was like, he goes, but I can't afford it right now. He goes, but then I remember, because I gave my son my mom's old guitar, and then I wanted a Yamaha, and I've been there 1,000 times, and I wanted a Yamaha guitar just because my mom had one. And the doctor grabs the guitar, but this is a nice one too. I played her in it. Well, it's a Yamaha guitar, and I'm going, this is what I've been looking for. This is exactly what I said. This is what I was looking for. And we're talking in Spanish. He said, lo que estaba buscando. And I said, this is what I want. He goes, yeah, it's really nice. I said, because my mom had one, and my son has my mom's guitar. Now I want my own guitar, my own Yamaha guitar. It was just really cool. It was just a really cool moment how that worked out. We didn't even plan it. It just happened. I went to go look at drums, and the drums weren't calling me that day, but the guitar was, and now I have my guitar, and have a really cool case. It's like a paisley raised beveled case. Black case is really cool. I'll have to show it to you. I'll take a picture sometime. But am I going to learn to play guitar? Maybe not right now, but at some point I will. But I have it. I'm ready to go when it's time to go and do it. But I'm totally stoked and excited about it, because that's where my energy, and that's what spirit was leading me to. And I bought a guitar, and Music Around was happy that I bought a guitar in a case. But those are the cool things about spirit. Sometimes following the smoke, and there's a reason why I got it. It just hasn't manifested in it and shown itself yet. It's just one of those things that you have to trust, and you have to. And I trust it. I trust the process. Sometimes I question the process because that's normal, but I trust the process. Sometimes we're going, man, what are we doing here? But you have to believe. You have to have faith that things will work out in your favor, because they will. They will work out in your favor every time. It may not look how you thought it was going to be. It may not look exactly how it was designed, but darn it, we got it done. It's like you're painting a house, right? You start at one end and you end up on the other side. By the time you get to the other side, you're quicker and faster, and you learn techniques, and you move, and you know how to get through the whole thing faster. In the beginning, it's kind of tough. You're like, oh my God, this is daunting. This is done. And then the next thing you know, like, you're like, da, 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 da. Next thing you paint a whole house. And then you look at it, you're like, wow, that's really cool. I did a good job. Yeah, so it's kind of the same way. Now, following the smoke, a lot of you know my story. I was hesitant. I didn't want to do it. I was defiant. I was crass about it. Just wanted to be a normal, I was going to say Joe, but a normal Iggy. That's kind of funny. I just wanted to be a normal guy. I didn't want to have any problems. I worked in the family business. That was enough for me at the time. Being a restaurateur was, difficult enough on top of the other things. It wasn't like they twisted my arm, but it's just like a nudge all the time. And then you know what? every time that you just knew that you had to do it, you did it. You did it. And you learn little by little, step by step. And then you don't even remember how you got here. You go and you're like, man, I'm here. I'm doing radio shows for the last, 12 years. I've been doing podcasts, been doing, recordings. I've been doing drum circles. I've been doing healing work. I've been doing, and I've been in it and involved in it, teaching, honoring, loving, all of it. And you just, it's not even important when it started anymore. It's like, what's important is where you're at in that you're doing it. Like right now, it's more important for me to be in the moment and present time. I'll take a little break here real quick. So I wanted to share with everybody today that we have a drum circle tomorrow at 6 p.m. to 7:30 at Griggs Reservoir in Columbus, Ohio. That's off 33 and Fishinger Road. We're going to be right next to the dam for those of you who want to come to the drum circle. And for those of you who are looking for a nice place to relax, Serenity Salt Spa is open. Go to serenitysaltspa.com. Just type in there and type in the date and time that you want to do. Type in the keyword code Iggy for your free discount. Hopefully I'll see you guys there at one of these events or at my salt spa that Sherry and I both own together. So those are my shameless plugs, but they're good plugs. All right. So what is Salt Room? Salt Room is a place where you just heal your spirit, your soul through the process of halotherapy. Halotherapy is a salt therapy. Okay, it's been around since the 1800s. And you know what? They've been doing it. And if they thought it was good, and it's still good, and here we are. We're one of the first here in Ohio. And we're going to continue being one of the first. So we hope to see you guys soon at serenitysaltspa.com. And then visit iggygarcia.com for more information about shamanism, more information about drum circles, healing circles, or any kind of circles that we do. Anyhow, those are my plugs for the night. So we continue back to our show about following the smoke. If you guys have any questions about following the smoke, let me know. Post it here. I want to read your comments. I'm really curious. Let's see. I don't see anybody really asking questions. I see a big smiley face there from Connie. All right. So we're learning from each other. That's important. I like that. I learned a lot from you. Thank you, Connie says. Connie, I've learned a lot from you too as well. Believe it or not. Okay. I remember the folks who appear when I'm in need, when I'm sad, when I'm feeling a little bit down or a little bit broken. I remember when you came to my house and you bought those Tiffany lamps, from my dad's home when we were doing the garage sales and stuff. And just us talking and, having the interaction. We've had many interactions before, but that was that stays in my mind because that was something that, you have something that my father had. There's a piece of my father, legacy amongst your things, or if you even sold it, But either way, it was really cool. I really appreciate that. So, I don't know how one actually arrives to the place they arrive to. What brings them to this place? Is it the bloodlines? Is it the energetic lines? Is it God? Is it spirit? Is it your guides? Maybe it's a little bit of everything. Maybe it's a little bit of all of it. But the one thing I do know is a lot of us come from multicultural backgrounds. And then some of the energies that reside inside of ourselves, inside of our body, is more dominant to the point where it just manifests outwardly and shares and wants to be part of that. And there are some of us who are involved in multiple types of energy healings because of the different types, of backgrounds you have. If you come from Europe, there's different types of healers there, different type of medicine men and women there. You go, to Russia, you go to China, you go to Asia, you go to South America, different types of healers, different types of energy. So if you were to do, a DNA test of your line, you're either going to be dominant mother or dominant father, one of the two. Your brothers and sisters won't even have the same lineage points. Sometimes they'll have extra, sometimes they'll have less, but they'll be fairly similar. Mine happens to be my indigenous Andean line is very deep and very strong, very, very big, close to 40%. The rest of it is a breakdown of all the different cultures: Welsh, Northern, Southern Italian, Russian, from the Mongolian area, from Mali, from Africa, Greek. It makes sense why in Norse, Norwegian, Welsh, Norwegian, all that. It makes sense why we are attracted to certain energies and why we're attracted to certain people and certain belief systems and why certain things and why we feel like sometimes we're studying something and then all of a sudden we jump over here. Oh, I want to be a druid now. It's not that you're being flaky. It's just that energetically you're unlocking the Rubik's Cube of life inside of you. You're unlocking those pieces and they're starting to connect. And then past life energy and past life stuff that comes up, we're not even talking, we're only talking about this lifetime and the generations that play through to get you to this point. This is just one life. But look at all those people that got you to this place in this moment in time. That's a lot of freaking people. That's a lot of energy. And and when we do energetic work, seven generations deep, that doesn't even give it justice because seven generations, we don't even know, some of us don't even know the second or third generation, let alone 7. But yet we have to connect to all these 7, connect to the 7 sacred points of the medicine wheel, right? East, north, south, above, below, central point. All these different pieces and parts of ourselves. Because we're all my relations. We're all related. Matakuyasan. Irisikwi. That's who we are. Because we are the manifestation of all the things that have been or will ever be. Because we are all one. We're all following the smoke. We're all following our path. That's why when we start to follow these paths, we're called path walkers. We're the red road. You've heard this. You've heard these terminologies. The red road. Follow the red road. Even in the Wizard of Oz, I think the brick road was yellow, but on the outside I think it was red. So, but there's a lot of metaphors in life. So when we look around in life right now, life is very, I don't know, life's always challenging. I'm not gonna change that verbiage too much. It's just another thing thrown on us and we have to learn how to navigate through it. There's some things that are just more difficult than others sometimes. But we can dwell on things that don't serve us sometimes. And sometimes our energy gets stifled because we dwell on energies that don't serve us. It's okay to be informed. It's okay to be connected. It's okay to understand. It's okay to want to understand what's happening, what's going on in the world. But sometimes you can be too informed. Sometimes you have too much information. Information overload. It's not because you're getting so much information. It's because you're turning it off in your mind. You're like turning it off, and all you hear is this little repeat, boom, 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 and it gets annoying and it gets bothersome, and then you don't hear anything. Turn off your TV for a week and see how it goes. Turn off your radio for a week, how it goes. Change up the music you're listening to. I can't tell you what to do on social media because for some of you, that's your only connection to the outside world. Into relationships that you created and fostered. Social media has become a tool where now people engage in as if, I'm talking to somebody next to me. Because that's how much we've evolved as a species, how much we've evolved since 2012. Exponentially, we have accelerated growth since 2012, and we will have exponential growth at rapid speeds. People will check out of this planet as quickly as they came sometimes. So when the Mayan calendar reset, it also talked about the exponential growth, the speed, and the development, and how things will move, and how fast technology will evolve. Look, we have electric cars now. All right, not everybody can afford them, but we have them. I remember when I was a kid, we wouldn't even have that conversation. That wasn't even a conversation we would even talk about. People would look at you and laugh. People would look at you and go, "Electric car? What do you want an electric car for? Are you gonna drive around with an electric car?" It was the muscle car, the strength, the gas. Now we have this evolution where we're moving into electricity as a form of transportation. And it's, electricity is used in these super powered, high powered, trains in Japan with magnetism and stuff, and they go like super fast. But see, that's the thing. When humanity puts their mind to something, they can do anything. We can do anything. There was a guy here in Ohio, in Grove City, who he invented the water-powered car. I don't know if it was the first one, but it was one that he had patented, one that he had designed to burn on H2O, and it worked, and it drove. And then mysteriously, he died or got killed. I forget the whole story. But that's where it is. The imagination is strong. The imagination is powerful. I think 1 cubic, a water molecule has so much energy in it, they can just power a city, if I'm not mistaken. I'll have to look that up, but it's something like that. It's just something in that. It's something that's unfathomable of seawater, I think is what it was. But just the idea, the idea that one little cube of water like that can power stuff. It can be done. We talk about traveling the speed of light, and everybody's like, well, if you travel the speed of light, you come back, everybody's going to be gone. Sure. I don't know anybody who's gone the speed of light and come back, so I can't tell you. I'm going to trust that what they're saying is true, because mathematicians probably know more than I do. Because I haven't talked to anybody who's traveled the speed of light and come back, as far as I know. You know what I'm saying? So, everything's hypothetical theory, even though it's worked out in mathematics. But when they fold space and time, shorten the distance, in these things called portals and wormholes, that makes a lot of sense. But there are interdimensional pathways to this world too. Your mind is faster than any computer in the world. Your mind is super fast. It's like, it's even faster than, it's a thought can travel from one end of the galaxy and back. Iggy, how do you know that? How do you know that that's to be true? Because I know it's true. I know it's true because I can take my mind into the meditative state. I can take my mind and release and move into space and time. Move. You can too. Everybody can. Everybody has the ability. You just have to believe that you can. Our ancestors were very smart people. Don't think they weren't. You had to be somewhat intelligent to survive as long as you have. Humanity has to be somewhat intelligent and smart, or really freaking lucky, or they made their luck, really lucky to get us as far as we have gotten today. But then all of a sudden, some things just stopped. Schools are the same. We still teach the same way. 125 years of teaching in schools, same thing, classrooms. The only thing that's evolved now, maybe computers and stuff. The automobile. Finally, we have an advancement where we have electric cars. We've been running on petroleum-based cars for a long period of time. Finally, we're starting to see space technology evolve now that we have super rich people going into outer space for short periods of time, traveling, changing the dynamics of space travel, the dynamics of who can go into space, who's allowed to go into space. There was a time where it's just government was control of everything. But now it's like regular people, if you can afford it, can go into space. And I find it really interesting. There are oceans in this world that we haven't even explored yet because they're so deep, and we just don't have the technology to take us down into the depths of it because of the pressure would just totally crush anything that would go down there. But yet, there's things that live down there. I personally believe there's people that live deep down in the ocean. There's cities down there. But they're not affected by us because they have the technologies to live down there, deep into the earth. I believe there's people who live in the core of the earth. I believe that the hollow earth theory, where there are people inside these hollow, part of the earth. Antarctica is one of those big things everybody talks about. Why not? If we believe in anything else, why can't that be possible? like Bigfoot, Sasquatches, Yetis. Those are medicine people. Those are interdimensional beings. Those are people who know how to move from our dimension to other dimensions. That's why they won't see them. And sometimes we catch a glimpse of them. But you have to have belief and imagination that these things truly exist. In order for to believe that the planets and the moon and all these things exist, we have to believe. Not because we see it and they show it to us. We look up in the sky and we see the moon. It's there. It's not like it's just appeared out of nowhere and just reappears and disappears. No, we see the moon. That's why we believe it. Now, someone would call it science. Some would call it spirituality. But the point is, man, even before science was even invented, knew about the stars, knew how to communicate, knew which way and when to plant their crops and when to do certain things because they studied, they learned, they paid attention. Plus, they weren't sidetracked with social media and cell phones and all these other critical things that kind of sidetrack us right now and put us into different thinking, a different mode of thinking. Now we're in a different mode of thinking where we may leave our bodies one day. And we may just be this big brain inside of a jar, kind of like in Star Trek. We may not even need to physically be in here. We could live in the brain and create worlds just with our brain. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. The Rubik's Cube, You turn it enough, there's multiple combinations. And once you get to that point where you think you got it, you twist it again, you move it again. There's no reason why the world that we live in is not really the world we live in. We're a participant in it. Our ancestors, they thought and they saw and they've recorded and they talked about giants. They talked about, the buffalo calf woman and her story, and the Incas and how they, Viracocha is what's the old universal God. On top of the sun god and the moons and everything, there was Viracocha. There was the all universal God, the cosmic God that made everything. They don't talk about that too much. Why? Because they wanted to make people out like savages. They wanted to make people look like they didn't know what they were talking about. But there's a temple. The Incas had a temple to the all God, the creator of everything. We know this because when you study your history, when you study where you come from, they teach you these things. And then, of course, as history and time develops and moves on, all right, everybody creates a new story, a new version, a new something. We create new religions, new beliefs, new ideologies. There were so many religions and so many ideologies before any of this Christianity or anything that we have now in the present moment. There was other things that were very beautiful but were destroyed because they were in competition with certain things. Man is very competitive. Man really wants to control things that it feels like it can control. But man also wants to be connected to a higher source. Well, man doesn't understand sometimes you have to let go of that control in order for a higher source to enter your body, enter your spirit, your mind. If it's all about money, if it's all about control, it's all about manipulation and how we can get people to buy more products, then that's all you're going to get. That's all you're going to get. And that gets old. It's kind of like you get tired of eating the same things over and over. You get tired of tasting and hearing the same stories over and over. And that's why a lot of people leave religions, because they get tired of hearing the same story. How many times do you have to hear the story in order to move into that belief? How many times do they have to pump it into your brain so it stays entrained in there? They don't want you to forget it. They don't want you to release it. They don't want you to move out of it, because that's the smoke. That's their smoke. That's their path. That's what they want you to do. So when you follow your path, when you're on your path, when you're looking for answers, when you're looking for reasons why you want to move into the energy you're moving into, ask yourself questions. Is it controlling me? Is it manipulating me? Am I being helpful? Is it helpful? Am I able to help other people once I learn this energy? Once I learn to open up? These questions you ask should be pretty simply answered. There are teachers that will teach you to get to the place you need to be. You could become more enlightened than your teacher. You become into more of a energetic flow than the person who taught you. You know, because it's not a competition. It's not about who's better, who's more open, who's more willing to do this energy. No, it's who's ready to receive it, who's ready to embrace it. So never, even when you hear me say this, it's not about you surpassing the teacher. This isn't Star Wars. This isn't like the Karate Kid, you know. This is an individual path. When you get there, you get there. You either you know or you don't. Others will notice. Kind of like myself. Sometimes I don't see the things that I do because I'm in it. But there are other people who report to me, "Hey, you're doing great work. Hey, Iggy, you helped me. Hey, Iggy, I'm glad that I met you." You know, sometimes you're in it, you don't see it because you're doing it. You're walking your path. It's because you're not necessarily looking for the ideas. You're not looking for the accolades. It's not about going, "Oh, look at me. I'm a shaman. I'm the best shaman ever." No, that's not what it's about. That's not why you do this work. My God, if you wanted to be a star in something, you might as well have played basketball or football or whatever. You know, and pray that you were good or tall enough to do it. But in this path, it's the accolades come because you see people. You know where the accolades come from? When I see people heal. When I see people do better. When I see people say to themselves, you know, "Hey, I feel good." And I'm going, man, they're doing it. It's about their self-healing. It's about you walking side by side with them and showing them that, you know what? Look at this. What do you think about this? What do you think about this? What about this? I want you to look at this. I want you to sit with this. I want you to sit with this for 3 days. I want you to trust this. I want you to ingest this. Tell me what you see here. Because what you're doing, remember, it's the Rubik's Cube unlocking. It's creating the pieces and parts. Because remember, the Rubik's Cube can also be taken apart. You could bust it open. And everything crumble down to the ground. It doesn't make it bad or bad. It's just where it's at. And then you have to reassemble it again. Okay, so even though the Rubik's Cube breaks, you put it back together, you piece it back together. You can change all the stickers on them. But it doesn't change the fact that you're moving through the energy, moving through this. Because the healing comes from inside. The healing comes from inside of us. When we're ready to heal, the teachers will appear. The smoke will appear. And the smoke will disappear as well sometimes. But don't be alarmed if it disappears. Don't be alarmed if something happens. Just continue walking the path. Continue having faith in the path. Give thanks to your ancestors. Give thanks to the Spirit. Give thanks to Creator. Give thanks to the universe for all the things you have. Irisikwi means gratitude in Quechua. Give gratitude. Be humble. Be open to the process. Because when the smoke comes, you'll know. You'll know. You'll definitely know. It's not like it just, When the smoke, when you see it, when you feel it, and you believe it, it's inside of you, and it engulfs in you, and it's entrained in you, you don't want it to go away. It's like having your very first piece of apple pie. It tastes really good. You're walking the path. Then all of a sudden, someone puts ice cream on it. If you like ice cream. And then all of a sudden you ice cream and the pie, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is like, wow, amazing. And then once it's gone, you ate it all. You're satisfied for the moment, right? And then a few days later, you're like, man, I want that pie again. That was really good. I want to learn more. I want to learn more. I want to be involved more. Because the path is also to prepare you to disembark this planet. The path you're on is also to help you move forward into the next life. Prepare you to move into the next segment of who you're going to be. Kind of like the dragonfly or the butterfly. Move you into that next phase. Move you into the next part of your evolution. You've been here many times. You're ready to embark on a new journey. That's why you're preparing. It's like an athlete preparing for the event. You're preparing for the event too. The transitional point in your life when one day you won't be here physically. But you'll always be here spiritually. You'll always be here energetically. A piece and part of you will never leave, but there'll be a piece and part of you that's interwound and weaved into the fabric of the planet, into the earth, into the universe, the Rubik's Cube of life. That's what's really cool about it. That's what's really amazing about when you find your path, your calling. Because just when you think it's hard and when it's done, all of a sudden you get the whisper in the ear, or you have that dream, or you have that realization or that visualization, and something just snaps you and wakes you up, boom, and then you're there. It's amazing the experiences that I've had personally, and I only speak from my own personal experience. The beautiful people that I've met, the challenging moments that I've had, the amazing experiences that I've had, the amazing healing I've seen people go through, the amazing healings that I've gone through, and the support that I've gone through, and then the deepest emotional hard places that I had to go in order to help find myself and dig myself out of. Will this change? No, because that's part of life. Life challenges us. But when you're in the light, when you're walking your path, it's a lot easier. What makes it difficult is other people challenge your new ideologies, your new beliefs, because they're so accustomed to see you in a certain way, in a certain light, that they're triggered and they're scared and they don't know how to respond and how to react to you because they'd never seen you in that empowered. Because either they're disempowered. There's like an old statement where they said, "You're intimidating." Someone would say, "Well, are you intimidated?" The question is, who's more powerful, the intimidator or the intimidated? Who gives away their power? Usually the one who loses. The person who usually intimidating somebody is usually the one giving away their power, because they don't have any way to control the person that they're trying to intimidate. Because if they could intimidate them, then they wouldn't have to worry about it. And when they get worried and frustrated about it, it's because they can't intimidate you. Because they can't put you in a box. Or like I say, what is that? Dirty Dancing? No one puts baby in the corner. Same thing, right? No one could put baby in the corner. Because baby ain't going in the corner no more. Done with that. And you know what? When you find your power, when you find your bliss, when you find your strength, it can scare you too. It can make you a little bit, wondering, whoa, what is this? Not because it's bad, it's just because you're also not accustomed to seeing yourself in that energy, in that strength. And then when you see yourself in that strength, you have to be a humble servant to that energy as well, to know that you also cannot abuse that energy. Just because you know in your power and your strength doesn't mean that you can just be an ass. You also have to be loving and caring and understanding that other person is just another version of you having a difficult moment in time in trying to figure out life. And we don't know what happens in the people's life. We don't know why people are jerks or jackasses sometimes. Not defending or protecting, but we have to understand that sometimes people project their feelings and anger because they're not well, or something is not right in their frame of mind, or their version of what they think life should be like. We all came back from this pandemic when we all had to come back into our somewhat kind of realities, because we were all in these little boxes for a while. We had to box ourselves into these little corners and these little spaces with certain people maybe we didn't want to be with, or we worked from home and we were all nice and comfortable there, and then all of a sudden that got changed. That changed for everybody. For a lot of us, we did well, and a lot of us, we didn't do well with that. But anyhow, that's my short version of following the smoke. I'm going to have some classes coming up here in September on Shamanism 101, so stay tuned for that. Visit me at iggygarcia.com and serenitysaltspa.com. And come by tomorrow at the Drum Circle at 6 p.m. at Griggs Reservoir till 7:30. We'll be jamming and hitting it hard. And with that, I want to say thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I want to say ho'oponopono, irisikwi, matakuyasin. It's all love. It's good to be here. And let's get out there. Let's do our best. Let's try to change the world. Let's be the change we want to see. Let's be the prayers that we pray. Let us be what we need to be for us in this moment in time. Oh.